London. This is Maryum Sharif, and welcome to the Star Moguls podcast. This week, we are joined by an amazing new designer who really concentrates on culture and heritage. I loved her design, Noreen Khan. So a big shout out to Noreen Khan for winning Presenter of the Year at the Media Awards. What she was wearing was by this lovely new designer, Julie Patel from Julie Fashion. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
I recently saw Noreen and wearing this amazing outfit, and I was like, so catchy, it's so different, but it had this kind of South Asian desi touch, which I love. I love contrast, I love heritage, and when you combine those two features together, those two components, I think you get some really nice designs.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, she reached out to me and she just was like, I love your work and I'd love to like showcase something of yours. And then we just started collaborating and it all came together, and she happened to have this award coming up and she really loved the whole Bollywood print.
You're a self-taught designer. So you're married with children. And so this was not your kind of chosen profession?
No, it wasn't. It didn't really come about until years after college, and almost until I had my first child is when I kind of realized this is what I wanted to do.
So what instigated for you to start designing or take this path?
I've always had a creative side. I loved painting and art, and that's what I was more interested in before I realized that I could actually create clothing. Fashion has always been something I love too, but until my mom just gave me one of her old sewing machines. She was like, sometimes if you need to fix a blouse or do something, like this is how you do it. So she just kind of showed me like the easy stuff, and then I just started playing around, and I'm like altering things and totally changing them and adding sleeves, taking off sleeves, putting cutouts, making something two pieces that was one pieces, and slowly then I started learning about pattern making, and how to like kind of make my own things, and it just kind of blossomed from that.
When was it that you took to the sewing machine? Was it something that you were, was at a young age, or you're saying after college?
I was in my early 20s when it started. So really I had never really made anything until about like maybe 23, 24.
You take traditional garments, so like, sari, or, like the sari blouse, and then you kind of revamp it, rebrand it for more of a modern kind of look, more into kind of a sari into a skirt or jackets and blouse, yeah, which is beautiful. So the design that Noreen was wearing, walk us through that. How did you come up with that design?
So that was actually a different process than me upcycling like a sari or something that was already there. I really wanted to create a cool print of my own. So I just kind of found all these old actresses like pictures and kind of meshed them all together. And then I actually got somebody to screen print that fabric for me. I chose the fabric type and kind of had them do that for me. And I wanted to have like my own little mini like collection that was like a Bollywood Babes is what it was called. And that's how that came about. That was just sometimes I'll do like mini collections, and that was just one that I really thought was so cool. I'd never really seen anyone, wearing prints like that. So it was just in my mind, and I just kind of made it a reality. So yeah, it's just really fun, bright colors. Kind of has like a vintage look with the specific one that she had, because it was like older actresses.
Yeah, I mean, we've been brought up by Bollywood and their fashion, and the actresses and the actors, and how amazing they are. So that, I think, that pays, like, that's a big influence on any kind of South Asian. But he can relate to that to a certain degree.
Oh yes, my mom. I mean, when my mom saw the print, she was like, she loved it. And I actually made them so many like masks, because that it was last year was when I came up with that print, and she's like, oh my gosh. And like, so all my aunts, and they're all like, we want those masks, we want masks like that, we want like this, like that, like they wanted everything, like they just loved it. So I think even older generations and even younger generations, it's kind of appeals to everyone.
What was the first garment or the first design that you came up with, and walk us through that?
I think the first real thing that I made, because before it was almost like semi-homemade things where I would kind of just like, repiece things together. But I think the first time I really just took a sari and was like, I'm gonna make something different out of this was after I had my first child. I was just having such a hard time wearing saris, and when I would have to nurse, I'd have to unpin everything, and I was just like, I can't do this. So, but I want to still wear something really nice and dressy and unique for this wedding. So I just made like a jumpsuit type, and it was very easy to open and take off. And the way it was just easy to run around after a kid as well. It was just comfortable, but it was still looked dressy and classy. And that's kind of how it all started. Because once then some of my friends were like, well, what, could you do that for me? Like, I have like a stack of saris here that you could make some things like this for me. And then it became word of mouth and people telling their cousins and that their aunts and this, that, and then everyone was just, it just kind of turned into a business just organically because through word of mouth, really.
We have so many things in our wardrobe that are unused. And I love that whole concept of actually taking something, revamping it and using it and making it current and relevant. Because why waste? And obviously with the environment, it has to be sustainable. After this interview, there's probably everybody's going to go into their wardrobes and have a look to see what they can revamp. Because we have stacks and stacks of saris, or maybe have kameezes, that I always kind of alter and do something. But saris, absolutely, and so much that can be done with it. Yeah.
It is, and it's beautiful fabric, but sometimes it's like, oh, well, this was the fashion like 10 years ago, and now no one wears this type of embroidery, or how things just kind of change. And then I'm like, but if you created something totally different than a sari, you'd be shocked at how, like, if people go, wow, like that looks good, that it doesn't. So you can kind of just take the old and make it new, and you like you said, the sustainability, and then just that it was sitting in your closet anyway, right? Taking up room, and or you're donating it or giving it to someone, and instead of doing that, just make your own piece. And you have people work with me, like, and collaborate with me. Like, it's not like I can only be the designer. If someone is like, I really would like a sleeve that's kind of like this, so they get to put their personal touch on the item as well. So I think people appreciate that as well.
Your business was conceived during COVID, right? Like, is that where it started from, or is it from before?
It's been from before. I've been doing this for about 10 years, but really I think marketing the whole upcycling part of it, and really shifting to just the reborn sari is what I call it. And just,
I like that. Yeah, reborn
sari.
So
that's kind of like what I'm focused more on now. I feel like it is the thing that is just different and people need and people are interested in the sustainability factor.
Absolutely. I think absolutely. I think it helps the environment, and fashion being one of the biggest polluters in the world. I think that everybody can look at their wardrobe and reassess it. I take care of my, clothes like they're there forever, because even if it's a fast fashion or a classic piece, I think when you look after your clothing, they look after you. So I think a lot of people will be looking at their wardrobes differently.
Yeah. I hope so.
So Julie Fashion. I love names of companies and the whole branding of projects and businesses. Explain what Julie means.
Well, Julie was just a nickname that my dad gave me when I was younger, and I don't know, it clicked to me when I was trying to figure out what to call my business. I just decided, well, it's me. Like, the business is me. It's my vision, my inspiration, my creativity, and kind of like the inner child in me didn't know that I had this in me. So that's kind of why we just went with Julie Fashion.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. So it's your own personal kind of, it's a nickname. It's quite cute, actually.
Thank you.
And I find that when people kind of take up a profession that they, in later life, that they always wanted to do something. So it kind of, whenever I've asked this question and I've had so many people answer it, I always find that it's always something that they've always wanted to do, but never explored it and never investigated it. But they've always had an interest. So it could be from a bag designer to interiors, and you say fashion, but there's always something that kind of was there embedded in you, and it just never flourished. And so
Yeah.
I think later on, when people start doing career change or they're looking to start new businesses, it's always something they've always wanted to do, but never had the opportunity or the time. And like you said, through COVID, you've had time and and time to think and plan and explore. So I always find that so interesting how you said that you always wanted to do it or you had an
Yeah.
interest, and now it's kind of done the whole full circle.
Absolutely. I think I just didn't really know that I could, or didn't, maybe some part of me didn't believe that I had it in me, or thought, oh, well, it's just more of a hobby. And then I just really, I think, just went for it. And I think I just always knew it was there. I just never really went for it. So, but it's never too late, is how I see it. So,
Absolutely. And I think that, all of your experiences and everything that you've kind of gone through, you kind of know what you like, and you kind of tested at the market for this whole year as well. And people have told you what they like.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So walk us through your collection. What is it that you kind of design mainly? And is there a signature garment that you have? Um, I've
So,
seen.
right, mostly now I do mostly upcycling, where honestly people will look through my gallery on my website or my Instagram, and they'll kind of like, oh, I love this dress and I love the sleeve on this outfit, and we'll kind of just come up with a concept together. But I do have ready to wear pieces available, just so there's something for people to buy who need something quickly, or just where I get to just kind of put my little spin on something that I've always wanted to create.
Yeah.
So I think like my biggest thing right now is, after the pandemic, I wanted to add like jackets and things that are a little more versatile and doesn't have to be like for an Indian wedding. You could wear it
Yeah.
out anywhere. So I have like bomber jackets, I have some blazers, and like of course the Bollywood print, where you could wear that anywhere really. I mean, it's just something unique, and you can pair it with different things. You could pair the lenga skirt with a sweater if you wanted, or like a denim jacket. It doesn't have to be full traditional garb.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fun, but also has our heritage, which is amazing. So because it kind of has that kind of identification of yourself, but it's modern and you can put your own twist on it for sure. Women that are in your position, that are, have our mothers, have children, but also are doing something they're passionate about, and they're wanting to, set up businesses. How how easy was it for you to set up and start a business?
Honestly, it's funny to me, because it didn't start as it was going to be a business. It started more as I was doing it for myself, and then it slowly grew into there being an interest of people wanting the same thing. And then I realized, really just a couple of years ago, and really during COVID, I grew a lot, because just realizing that I had a niche that hadn't really been like the whole upcycling, the whole taking old materials and saris. And I really thought, gosh, I really need to like kind of put more time into this, because this could be a lot bigger than what I'm thinking it is in my
Yeah.
mind. Um, but I think the hardest part is just balancing, if I'm the one sewing the clothes, I don't have anyone outsourced helping me make the things. I'm actually making them. So designing and then sewing and then also marketing myself, and all of it combined with motherhood is a little overwhelming.
Well done to you for actually kind of finding that balance and trying to do something for yourself, because I think that's equally important as much as raising children and your family and paying attention to that. But I think when sometimes we as women, we put our own needs and our own desires and ambitions to the side, and I
Yes.
think that we forget about them so easily, because that we're so in the whole family and giving that attention, that you kind of forget about your own ambitions, which is so
Yes.
it's nice to see how you're an example of how women, if they're wanting to or thinking of doing it, they can do it. What is the biggest challenge then for you right now?
The challenge is just the time. It's just there's never enough time. I feel like it's just, and I think I have like an internal battle with whether I want to, get hire help with sewing, because I'm also very controlling when it comes to that. I want to have my hands on the items. I don't want to
Yeah.
give it to someone else to do. And that's something that for the last year I've been trying to figure out, like, well, can I maybe have them make some of the ready to wear things and test it out? And I've been saying I'm going to do it, but I haven't like taken that step yet. I think that it will make it a lot easier for me if there's certain items that can be purchased quickly that can be sewn by someone else. And then some of the really custom stuff, then I get only use my hands on those items. So I'm trying to figure all that out, figure out the balance, figure out the budget, because obviously I'll be, paying someone to help me. So
Yeah.
will that all work out? Will it be worth it financially? So I think just trying to figure that out is like my biggest challenge right now.
Do you have any fashion icons or some role models that you have?
I mean, it's funny because people ask me all the time, like, what my inspiration is, but I think I'm just like, I take little pieces of like so many different things that I can't even like pinpoint where it comes from. I'll see something, I'm like, I got to remember that. I love how that flows, or I love how that looks,
Yeah.
or how there's a little cutout there. And I kind of just take like bits and pieces from like all over the place. And it's not just South Asian fashion, it's also like Western or any other designer. I really do love, looking at other actresses. I love Shilpa Shetty. I think she always just looks great. I love everything she wears.
So elegant. And yeah, I think her signature is probably the sari, like she wears the sari so well.
Yes, she just looks so great in everything. And really just, I look to other designers and I always try to not get discouraged. Like sometimes you get the whole comparing and you're like, oh wow, like gosh, I wish someday I'll be able to make something like that, or that's so intricate and how did they. But I think just not thinking of it that way and just looking at it as a beautiful piece and taking small elements from other things as an inspiration is what really helps me kind of stay focused and not get the whole imposter syndrome and the whole or copying, because I do have people who customers will be like, send me pictures of like a really famous designer's design and say, can you make something like this for me? And I'm like, well, that's not exactly what I do, but I can take small elements or what do you like about this that I can incorporate in my design, and that whole kind of process.
To inspire other women who want to start businesses and want to start something in creative industries, what advice would you give to them?
I would definitely tell them to, I think, and like what I would tell my younger self is just to do it, number one, because we're just always self-doubting. It's like the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, oh well, that's, what if I'm not good enough, but you're never going to know unless you start, and you're going to fail. Maybe like you can't automatically succeed. There's no such thing as luck. Like some famous person is not going to just call you like, hey, I like your design, I'm going to wear it. It happens with hard work. It happens with getting yourself out there, and it happens with 1,000 no's until you get some yeses. And you just got to keep going and just believe in yourself and get knocked down and get right back up. And it's just all those things. I know it sounds cliche, but it's very true. And I have to remind myself that still every day.
What do you do when you do feel like that and you feel the pressure, or you feel like, well, I don't want to do this anymore? What is it that you say to yourself or do at that moment in time to bring yourself back up?
I think I go back and I look through all of the good things, the successes, the people who've worn my like outfits and have like told everyone about them. Certain magazines that I've been a part of. I look back at all the things that make me proud of my work, and that kind of like puts my mindset back. Or even just looking through comments on my Instagram and just people who don't even really know me and they're so sweet to like compliment me and tell me that I inspire them. It's just like you read something like that and you're like, it doesn't even matter if that one person is like inspired by me, like that means something to me. So I think you just kind of have to like remind yourself and take a step back and just look at everything and look at the good. And then and then there's a new day and you are like, I'm just like back to my focused, going in one direction. So yeah.
Being an entrepreneur and being, by yourself and not having support is really kind of, it's pressure, because it's not like you work in an organization or in a company where you have other colleagues and you have other people to understand your situation. I think it's quite isolated. So I think when people do start off and they need someone to bounce off, and I think this is why, you know, having business groups and you know, having communities where you are talking about creativity, where you have that support, is really necessary.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of my dreams, is to have a team, or even just another one person, one teammate, to kind of, like you said, bouncing off each other,
Yeah.
encouraging that support, that excitement. It's kind of hard when you're just doing it in your own head and you're not really, you know, I'll talk to sometimes my friends about it, or my husband, but it's, you know, somebody who really shares that same passion, and
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
hard.
Because the thing is, they don't really understand what it takes, or what design elements go into it. They're just there to support and understand, and
Yes,
they will give their preference. But I think that understanding something like kind of something very creative and intricate is very different, to
yes,
having somebody that understands that kind of, has that knowledge and experience as well,
absolutely.
who's gone through that. Yeah. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience before leaving? Because I really wanted this to be a nice mentoring kind of session. And for those who, to be the other ladies, to be inspired by your story. I really loved your designs. I loved the fact that Noreen was wearing one of your designs, and I was like, oh my God, who's she wearing? And so I'm so proud of Noreen, and proud of you as well, for styling her. It's such a great outfit. I will definitely put the link below, and your Instagram handle, and so people can contact you. Is there anything that you would like to share with the audience?
Yes, I just wanted to add that, you know, I am based in the US, but I have begun shipping globally, which was also something that was on my list from the past year. So yeah, I just want people to know that, you know, and if there's, for some reason it's not on my site, if people just DM me, message me, email me, I'm very easy to work with. Like, I will respond to you quickly. And yeah, like, I just hope that everyone kind of just appreciates the work that I've done, and hopefully I, you know, just trying to get my brand out there.
Where
And
do you see Julie fashion in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'm hoping that in the next 5 to 10 years, I'll have some kind of team working with me, some help, whether it's with marketing, with the sewing, and then also I hope to just make myself a global brand, globally known. I'm already shipping, you know, to the UK, and I've also added Canada. Hopefully, I'll be shipping to all over the world in the next 5 years.
That's wonderful. Do you have anything that you can show our audience at the moment? Do you have something that you have
Oh,
that
yes,
you
I
can
do.
show?
So let's see, I
Something that
have,
you're working on or something? Yeah, okay. Love
so
yellow.
So these are the newest bombers that I added to my ready to wear, and they come in black and like a rose pink as well, but I just love the yellow. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, wonderful.
That's something that's available, you know, right away. It's ready. And then I also have some blazers. I had more of these, but they had sold out. So this is actually the last one I have at the moment. But they can always be made, and they can also be upcycled if anyone has certain fabrics, or even a sari that they wanted some sort of blazer or trench coat made out
Yeah,
of. I've done that for plenty of people.
yeah.
And yeah, other than that, it's, you know, any fabric. I mean, silks, chiffons, so many, all the fabrics of India. You know, I can pretty much you can make anything out of it. I mean, it's, you just, or if you don't know and you just say, hey, I have this really beautiful fabric, what would you recommend that I would get made out of this? That is absolutely, I mean, I love that, because that gives me a lot of creativity. So
Yeah,
either way.
that's wonderful. Wonderful. So wishing you all the success in the future,
Thank you.
Julie, and we look forward to seeing you in London and bringing your designs here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, lovely. Take care.
You too.